Adam Schefter went on yesterday and said there is absolutely no trade market for Trey Lance. Or if it does exist, it's so negligible that the Niners wouldn't consider it because of what they gave up for him. And that, I mean, made a lot of people's eyebrows raise.
Right.
What's your reaction?
I think it's par for the course for what you would say if you're in line with the organization who you're reporting for. It helps the Niners.
Real quick. Adam Schefter wrote the biography on Mike Shanahan. Keep going.
Yeah, so it helps. It helps the Niners. It does. It helps the Niners to put out there that there is no trade market for Trey, because it quells the fact that their asking price was probably too high for Trey.
And explains why he's still on the team if they like Brock so much.
Exactly. And also, the Vikings want Trey. Atlanta wants Trey. Tennessee could want Trey. I mean, what you would say, any team that wants Trey would have to be willing to tie their legacy to him. Anybody that would want to ingest him. So I see a myriad of teams that would pull the trigger on Trey. But the thing about it is that it's the asking price, what you would have to pay Trey because of where he got picked in the draft, his rookie contract. And I do believe that there is a trade market for Trey, but the Niners are just asking for too much, and teams can't do it.
I look at it a different way. I kind of believe Adam. I don't.
Okay.
If I had to guess, I don't think there is much of a trade market for it, and I think the Niners killed it. I think you could. Maybe I'm wrong here. We could disagree on this. Let me talk through my perspective. Let me see what you think. When the Titans drafted Will Levis in round 2, that was a bad sign, because that's a Niner guy, and you think if there was a segment of the organization that liked Trey, maybe he would go after him. But it seems to me what the Niners have done, and Adam Schefter said it, like the host of this show, whose name I forget, kept saying like, well, isn't the guy going to get a chance? Like, how do you give up all this capital for a guy and never give him a chance? And
with the investment involved,
that's the question. And Schefter just gets real defensive.
Say what Adam said, Grant. Please say what
he goes, well, they've seen him in practice. They've seen him.
They have gotten a good look at him.
And so what the Niners have done is essentially tanked his trade value by saying he sucks in practice, implying it, whispering it, leaking it, whatever you want to call it, whatever the verb is. They have tanked his trade value off of practice, not a game.
We're going to stay with that narrative.
Yeah.
We're going to stay with that narrative, right? Because they're smart enough to know what they have because of practice, right? So that means that let's take that a step further. Trey's not going to be the starter for this team. It's not happening. And one of the reasons, there's a couple of indicators that we're going to touch on throughout the show, but one of them is simply preparation. It's what we talked about previously. The other teams that matter to us are not only the other 31 teams in the league, but the top teams that we're going to see later in the year. And our biggest gripe with this faux quarterback competition that we've been told that we're having is that we're not really preparing. We're having a quarterback competition. We're not getting the reps together with our number one guy. We're not trying to get anything together. And because of that, we also looked at the multiple quarterbacks that are supposed to be ingesting this offense. Well, I don't think that Sam is going to be doing anything that Trey learned when he was supposed to be the starter last year. I think that there's different versions of this offense, and I think that what Sam is learning is basically what Brock gave us in the last 8 games, that iteration of the offense. And I believe that whatever Trey was doing the season before when he was the starter is not what he's doing now. I believe that Trey is actually being given the full offense, and he's learning. And to another point, as soon as Trey went down, what was the quote that rang hollow through back to Niners football? And let's take it a step further. Let's just say that that's all narrative, right? Coach and Grant, here they go again, counting the tea leaves. But let's do it this way. Last year, the backup quarterback for Trey Lance was Nate Sudfeld. Nate Sudfeld got paid $3 million guaranteed to be here. Okay. That was an indictment on the fact that, hey, we want you here. Nate Sudfeld is not running no quarterback zones. He's not running anything that Trey was.
They could have had Tyrod Taylor.
Could have had Tyrod, right? Who's the backup? Who's the backup in with Philly right now?
Marcus Mariota.
Right.
Because of course he is. Because of course
he is.
Yeah, yeah.
Nate Sudfeld and Trey Lance are nothing alike. And that shows that Nate Sudfeld was a contingency plan for if and when we do have to have somebody here. This is the type of offense that we're going to ingest.
Let's go back to what works. We'll give it a shot. We'll dip our toe in. Ooh, it's cold.
And to take it a step further, when we ultimately got rid of Nate, right, where he got paid $3 million for a cup of coffee and a sweet roll, who do we give him up for?
Purdy.
Nate. Brock has nothing to do with what we did with even in the small 2 games that we saw Trey Lance play. Not even 2 games, 4.5 quarters, right? Nothing of what Trey Lance was doing offensively resembles anything that Brock Purdy did when he got on the field, right? Sam Darnold is athletically more talented than Brock Purdy, and he's on par athletically with Trey Lance, I believe. Oh, yeah, slightly. But again, Sam Darnold is here because he's going to be the iteration of what they really want to run. And then they go a step further and then bring in Brandon Allen. Trey Lance is the only type of quarterback with his skill set in the building. We haven't even gotten a backup quarterback to show that offense that we're even the offense that we disagreed with that Kyle ran with Trey. They didn't even bring in a backup to make sure that the team could still keep running it. They weren't really married to it. Trey's not making the field, man.
Okay, I'm with you on that. That was a great rant. Let me kick this back to where we were started, though. The trade market. The Niners are just saying, like, look, it's not our fault. There's no one wants him. I'm sorry about the banging upstairs. Can you hear it?
All right. No, I can't hear it.
You can't hear it? Okay. So I was saying, they're saying, look, he sucks in practice. Without saying it, he sucks in practice. You guys need to know that so that you understand our thought process. If he does suck in practice, shut up about it. Why are you telling people? Why do you need people to know? For example, Jimmy Garoppolo on the Patriots, okay? He sat on the bench forever. And there was a report came out like year 3 from New England that said, hey, Brady's been out because of this Deflategate thing, and Jimmy's running the offense, and honestly, he's running it as well as Brady ever has. Remember that report?
Yep.
It was baloney, but that's what they put out there because they knew they were going to have to trade him eventually, and they floated that thing. Oh man, he runs this as well as
he's
Brady.
killing.
He's killing it, man. And then soon they trade him for a 2nd-round pick, which is not what you would trade a guy. You would keep a guy if he was running it like Brady. Trade him for a 2nd-round pick. The Niners get him when they realize, oh my God, he sucks in practice. He's a gamer. But he's not good in practice. And then a report comes out a couple years later from whoever does the play-by-play for the Patriots that said, like, actually, their secret here for a long time is that Jimmy was the worst practice quarterback they've ever had.
Yeah.
But he's a gamer. So that's what you do. That's your secret. You don't tank your own quarterback's value. You lie. You freaking lie. Yeah. Man, he's tearing it up, dude. He is tearing it up. But that's what you guys did.
But I don't think that we have that problem. We don't. All right. The thing that's different from the Patriots situation from our situation is that the Patriots didn't spend 3 first-round picks on Jimmy Garoppolo.
And they had an excuse to sit him on the bench. They had Tom Brady.
Yeah. So when the Patriots are trying to offload Jimmy Garoppolo, they don't have their organization or their fan base looking at them for the investment to why Jimmy didn't even make the field. Why they didn't.
He was a late too. He was a late too when you had Brady.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like yes, I agree with what you're saying. I agree with that. They should pump him up. They shouldn't be so transparent about.
It doesn't help them in any way. It doesn't help them in any way. Yeah.
But at the same time, I feel like there's a lot of masters that the Niners have to serve with this Trey Lance situation. But priority number 1 is making sure that the question isn't asked, what are you doing with this guy that you spent 3 first-round picks on and you're not, why aren't you playing him? Like
because Brock is just so special. We're just going to pretend we spent 3 first-round picks on Brock because he's that good.
Yeah.
That's what Adam Schefter kept saying. Like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird, but they found their guy in a roundabout way, so how could you blame him?
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. I mean, and And
They found their guy?
honestly, the real question is that if Brock struggles, right? If Brock struggles, then what do we say about the regime then? Are we because what we're really going to be doing is the patience and all of the nurturing that we're going to be giving Brock is going to be based off of 8 games that he gave us, and it's going to draw out. And it really should have been spent on the investment. But
if you think about it, Brock just buys Kyle time. Like, because right now, Kyle, if it weren't for Brock, he'd have no quarterback. And people would be really asking those questions about Trey. But what he can say is, no, we got Brock. It's all good. He's coming back. No problem. But that just buys him time. Because what if Brock comes back to earth, isn't the same, yada, yada, gets figured out? Then what does he do?
He's going to get time.
Pivots to Darnold. Now I got Darnold. And it's going to buy me time. And then next year, I might get Kirk Cousins. He's buying himself time. That's all this. He's filibustering.
He's hedging.
He's the dude giving a speech, and he's like, and in conclusion, and I'm a little thirsty. Can I have a little water?
What he's doing is he's hedging. Like, he's the last 8 games that we've got. So Brock is viable. If Brock starts struggling with Brock's arm, there's really nobody out there that's going to kill Brock. Honestly, I wouldn't. Right? Like, what they're telling us does not make sense. We all expect Brock to come out there and do the best he can. But if Brock starts struggling, I'm not going to be surprised, and I'm not going to kill Brock for it. He just got off injury, right?
How could Brock have gotten better this offseason? He didn't. Right. He hasn't been able to work on his game. How?
None of this is on Brock.
Yeah. Practice matters. It matters.
It does.
They're trying to act like it doesn't, but if he struggles, they're going to be like, well, he didn't have an offseason.
Dude, I'm not buying none of this. Oh, Brock should be ready by week 1. I hope Brock is ready by week 1.
Here's how the Niners are going to play it real quick. They're going to act like, oh, it's no big deal. It's no big deal. He's going to come back. Then they're going to use it as an excuse the entire year, just like they did with Trey last year. When Trey came back, they're like, oh, his finger's good. It's no problem. He's 100% healthy. He's good to go. Then when things don't go well, they're like, well, actually, we didn't tell you, but his finger was messed up. And now it's good. It's like that. They're going to do the same thing with Brock if things go sideways. Actually, his elbow was messed up, and we didn't say anything.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, and as this plays out, I'm not believing they're giving us their best case scenario. But the realistic scenario is that we're going on the road against a team that is ready for us. The Pittsburgh Steelers are not going to be an easy game, and I'm hoping that Brock comes out there and does a great job, and we keep him upright and healthy with our brand new right tackle and our interior guards that we're finally going to be playing full without switching them in and out. So there's a lot of
that's going to be an ugly game, especially offensively. It's going to be an ugly game offensively. And from the Niners' perspective, you might not want to throw Brock Purdy out there for that, because whichever quarterback plays that game, the best case scenario for that quarterback might be surviving.
Yeah.
Getting through it with a win. I don't know that they're going to be putting up 300 yards and 3 touchdowns and 110 quarterback rating week 1 in Pittsburgh. I don't see it. It could happen.
It could. Listen, I want us to do the best we can. I feel like we're going to start the season strong, right? Because what I do know is that one of the reasons why we can talk about all of the small things, but one of the reasons why we start slow is because it takes so hard to get our running game off the ground. And when you're playing against a team early on in the season, defenses, they don't really have to be good. They just have to get in the way, honestly. You're right. I hate defenses don't like that offensive guys feel that way, but it's the truth. A lot of times when the season gets going, offenses have to find their rhythm. Now, what I'm trusting is we didn't start the season with Christian in our backfield.
Right.
And
that's helpful.
That's very helpful. And I'm trusting
as long as he's healthy,
that our run game carries us while we bring up the rear and get this passing game together.
Because that's what they did in 2019, right? They were running the hell out of the ball while Jimmy was coming back from an ACL surgery.
Yep. And
with a limited offseason. Yeah, absolutely.
That's what saved us. Our run game was unstoppable.
Richard Clark says, truth is there is just no other news. No arrests, no major trades, no Brady. These talking heads just need clicks right now. Trade topic gets clicks. That's so true. 100%. Absolutely. Still, though, I feel like we learned a little bit because it's Schefter. Also, why is Adam Schefter going on that dude's YouTube channel and trying to get exposure? Dude, you don't need exposure. You're Adam Schefter, man. Why?
Another thing that's kind of crazy is that he said that Sam is ahead of Trey.
You haven't been there, Adam. Who are you talking to?
Yeah.
The quarterback coach that used to work with?
Right. And whoever you're talking to, Adam, Last I checked, Kyle said the quarterback competition doesn't start until training camp.
Thank you.
So
Also,
so
I
who
was
came
there
first?
for all the days of
Yeah.
minicamp, and I didn't see Sam Darnold leading. I mean, everyone who was there said it's kind of neck and neck, basically. Everyone said that. Trey had some good days. Sam had some good days. Ultimately, they're neck and neck, and it hasn't even started yet. That's what everyone said.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Except for the Brandon Allen love. Randy says, Kyle Jedi mind tricking fans. They drafted Lance, not him. He bears no response. They drafted Lance, not him. He bears no responsibility to draft. Capital lost, but is a genius for discovering Purdy. That is some serious Jedi mind trick. I didn't draft
It really is.
Lance. You guys told me to. You guys said it would be good. I was just making you happy. That's not what happened. Because his dad went to Lance's pro day. Rod Simmons says, Coach, so you're telling me that Brock's magical rookie season was so much better than Jimmy Garoppolo's 5-0 season that they're willing to renege on selling the house to draft Trey? A second guess what they thought was his ceiling. Second guess what they thought was his ceiling. I don't understand.
So you're telling me that Brock's magical rookie season was so much better than Jimmy G's 5-0?
Yeah, it's like, haven't they done this before and felt this before?
Yeah.
Like, they're so excited.
No, they did this. They did this with Jimmy. They did this with Jimmy with his 5-0 start. They're doing this with Brock with his 7-0 start. They're just they're just trying to catch lightning in a bottle. And really, none of this really matters until we pay Brock. When we pay Brock, it's a whole different ball game.
Good point. Strawberry React says it's actually false that Sam is more athletic. Brock has a faster 40, 10-yard split, 20-yard split, 20-yard shuttle, and vertical jump compare combine. Thank you, Brock, for watching the show and correcting us. Lobs all day says Mac Jones will have a Pro Bowl year. Purdy must be healthy because Kyle will be under a lot of pressure this year if he's not for picking Trey. Mac Jones will have a Pro Bowl year. I don't
know about that.
Why do people have faith in Mac Jones? He was awful last year because they got Bill O'Brien. I mean, Bill O'Brien isn't even good. Is he?
Well,
he was awful in Houston. I don't know.
Bill O'Brien is all right, man. He's all right.
He's all right. He's a good college coach at Alabama. Yeah. So is Sarkisian. I don't know.
But I do agree with Lob's point. For all of the narratives that are coming up where people may feel as though that we're being negative or subversive or critical, all of this stuff comes raging back if Brock Purdy isn't what we think he is. Like if Brock Purdy comes back to earth, then you're gonna have to approach this coaching staff with now what? You know,
can we talk about the Patriots for a second though? Like this offense ranked 26th in yards last year, and they added Juju Smith-Schuster. What? This team sucks. Devontae Parker, Juju, and Kendrick Bourne.
You just don't like Mac, man.
I'm sorry. There is no explosive firepower in that freaking offense. It's not just his fault. Like if you put him in Cincinnati, he might look better because you got all that firepower. But like New England is like the most vanilla team in the league.
I mean, you know what's funny is that Mac Jones belongs here. Honestly,
he'd look way better here.
He would look way better here, and I think it's rich that they keep trying to push this whole we were trying to get Mac at 3. No, we're
going to talk about that right now. Niners QB situation, same crap, different season, 7 years, says Kaliki Carroll. Yeah, thank you. Pretty much. Both Mac and Fields going to have great years. Yeah, well, I don't know about Mac. We'll see. I don't feel like the Patriots have actually
Fields
given him
weapons.
Fields has weapons. That's what I wanted to say. He's got a nice right tackle they took in round 1. Thank you, Lobs. Can we just rank Williams? Can we just tank for Williams or May? You never know. Kyle went 3-13 the year after going to the playoffs with RG3, so it could happen.
It can happen.
Kyle he doesn't. It seems like when it goes bad, he just lets the wheels fall off.
It falls off quick.
It does.
We're top
heavy.
People don't recognize, man.